What are some unethical life hacks? Story 1. In 8th grade, I lived in an apartment and I used to stick a wad of tissue paper up the vending machine change return slot. Every evening I'd reach up there and pull my day's loot of change down. I'd pocket about $7 per day. People just assumed the machine ate their change. Story 2. Hotel lobbies are a great place to kill time if you need to wait for someone or something in a city. I live in New York City, and occasionally I've had to wait on a relative taking a bus into town, or someone is late for something, and then I just find a relatively swank hotel with a nice waiting area and a couch and sit there. It'll usually be about 20 minutes before anyone says anything, and if you need more time, just say you're waiting for a friend who is staying at the hotel. Story 3. When you buy a laptop or desktop, buy a warranty that includes accidental damage. Near the end of the warranty term, run Linpack or Furmark and block the exhaust vent. Leave it like that for a few hours and you'll get irreparable hardware damage. File a warranty claim and get a new laptop. The best part is there's no evidence of hardware tampering because you never even opened the case. Story 4. Make a profile of a hot woman saying you want a sperm donor, but it has to be done the old-fashioned way, and the person has to have specific ancestry and no genetic issues. To prove this, the donor will have to submit a genetic test and link to 23andMe. The link will be, of course, your referral link that gets you $20 per person you refer. Story 5. If you've got a decent bit of land, find out what your state's requirements are for agricultural tax exemption. Significant drop in property taxes. Friend keeps 6 cows because that's one of the things that qualify you. She's bought the hundreds of acres and built a barn that cost more than my house to keep her horses. As adding 6 cows turned the whole operation into agriculture and saved loads each year on property taxes. Another friend sells about $2,750 in nursery stock from her greenhouse. $2,500 a year is the requirement in her state. It's not illegal. Slightly unethical because the point of the program is to help out farmers. Doing the bare minimum to qualify to save on property taxes is obviously not what they meant. Story 6. Stand near crowded concession shops at a stadium or something, like between 2 lines at the front. Keep looking into the back like you're waiting on something. At some point, someone will ask, "What are you waiting on?" Say something like, "Just a couple of chicken tender baskets." 9 times out of 10, they'll be right back with a couple of chicken tender baskets. Story 7. For the desperately broke or homeless youth. I used to do this when I was a skate rat. All you needed was a hammer, a quarter, and an older vending machine. Hammer the quarter flatter and flatter till it's the size of a silver dollar. Old vending machines obviously don't have the greatest technology in them and can only read the now flattered coin size as a silver dollar. Then hit the coin return. Your quarter just became 4 quarters. Repeat as much as you like. I turned .25 into $30 at one point. Now that I'm older and make good money, I wouldn't do this, but if anyone is ever desperately in need of money, it definitely helps. Story 8. On Craigslist or Umslist or any other classified ad site, find an item you want, lowball the person from several different emails, then send them a reasonable, but still below asking value, offer at them from your real email. After being lowballed all day, they'll jump at your real offer. Story 9. I had a boss a long time ago who told me that if his friends were going on a trip out of state or country, he would give them his debit card to use. The friends would go and book hotel rooms, buy food and other things. He'd then, towards the end of their trip, report his card missing. He can prove he was in the area all week, his friends get a free trip to Canada, and the bank refunds my boss all his money. Story 10. I have one that my dad did back in college. More of a one-time life hack than anything. His professor basically spent all his free time writing and trying to sell to Hollywood a script for a movie. He was barely there during office hours, he was super disorganized when it came to the students, things like that. Come finals, my dad slept through it. He slept through the final and was absolutely panicking. So he decided to play things a little underhanded. When grades were posted and his was naturally not there, he went to the professor and said, "Sir, about my test score, I noticed that it wasn't posted." Technically true, although he didn't state the reason why the score wasn't there. The professor began looking through his notes and obviously didn't find his test. But the professor was so disorganized that he was convinced that he had lost the test. "Oh yeah, you got a B+, he said, quickly jotting the grade down on the grade sheet. My dad got up, walked out, and never freaking looked back. Story 11. Can't write a good job application or CV. Post a job advertisement on those free websites for a position in the area you are interested in entering. Have random people apply to your fake job advertisement and use those CVs to create a master CV for yourself. Story 12. Browse your local obituaries. Find an old man who's passed away, but make sure there is something along the lines of, George leaves behind his loving wife, Midge, of 62 years. With the power of the internet, call up Midge on the phone and ask her about the used car advertisement she posted. Midge will tell you that she doesn't have a used car for sale. Reassure her that you saw the ad for the car. Midge just might think, well, maybe I can sell George's old car, it sure will help pay for all these new expenses. You see, George's old car is a nice luxury car, driven with the care and frequency that only an 87-year-old can give. Now you can go buy a practically new luxury car on the cheap. Story 13. Just before the pandemic, my son worked at a multinational that had posh reception areas with coffee machines, large televisions running the company's products and advances all day and always manned by smart receptionists. One day, a van pulls up with 3 blokes in it, all in high-vis and clean smart workwear. They show their work order to the receptionist and get on with removing 4 70-inch TV screens and a projector, all for upgrades and replacements. To this day, neither the blokes, van nor the TVs have been seen again. Just walk out like you own it comes to mind. The receptionists were not sacked, but from then on everyone who came to that facility had to be checked properly. Story 14. If you're planning on calling in sick, schedule an email about it at a weird time early in the morning. People don't doubt it when they think you were up at 4:37 a.m. vomiting. Then if you need to physically call, you can do that later during the day and have written documentation that you were up all night vomiting. Story 15. For Uber Eats, McDonald's, Burger King, or other food brands, start like 20 to 30 accounts on their apps. Once they realize you have been inactive for a period of time, they will almost always give you offers for free food, or like a burger for $1 or something. Because I have so many accounts, I can check through them and there is almost always a way for me to get a full meal for about $3 to $4 at most. You can also use multiple accounts at the same time to make different orders and pick them up all at once if you really want a lot of basically free food, but that's a little more risky. Uber Eats regularly sends me $25 off orders of $25 or more for the first order on a new account if I don't order anything on that account for a bit. Now you can't use the same card you have used on other accounts, so you have to buy a cheap prepaid card each time. If done right, it ends up being like $20 off any order of $25 because of the cost of purchasing the prepaid card. I do this regularly and order exactly $25 of food, which ends up being $5 including fees and tip. Generally means I get to order $25 of food from any restaurant for around $15, all fees and tip included, vs the $40+ it would be normally. Cheaper than going there or picking it up myself. $15 for enough food to feed 3 people and have it delivered is pretty awesome. It takes a few steps, but honestly not more than just starting a new email address and a quick stop on the way home for a cheap prepaid gift card. Story 16. In the self-checkout aisle, you call the shots. Organic oranges become regular oranges. Organic apples become regular apples. Organic meat becomes regular oranges if you tear off the barcode. The scanner is just a mindless machine. Take control of your own destiny. Just FYI, find the highest wealth zip code in your area for least security precautions by the door. If you've gotten this far and enjoying the content, please leave a comment of your own story. We'd love to make a video of them in the future. Story 17. If you get in a one-car accident or fall asleep whilst driving, tell the responding police that you swerved to avoid an animal. My grandfather was a madman on the road. He brake-checked a guy who then ended up rear-ending him, caused some damage to the cars but no one got hurt. When he stepped out and started yelling, my grandpa just said, "What, you didn't see the cat that ran over the road?" The guy ended up having to call insurance and my pop got his car fixed for free and got off scot-free. Story 18. If I break something that is still available for sale, I go buy a new one, then return the broken one with the new receipt a day later, saying it only lasted a day. I've used this for video game controllers, toasters, blenders, vacuums, and a lot of items. The store never questions it, and I get a new item for very little effort and no additional cost. Story 19. It's technically catching people doing something illegal, but the way my dad's old boss operated, it just felt awful to watch. So when a bar shows, say, a boxing match, apparently they are supposed to buy the match separately on each TV. So for a big sports bar with 75 TVs, it can be pricey. Some bars will just buy a couple, or even one license and broadcast them on all of the TVs. The boss would buy the rights to pursue the offenders, IIRC the process, and then sue the bar owners per TV that the fight was shown on, sometimes for tens of thousands of dollars. The part that felt unethical was that he didn't do this full-time as his main gig. He kept all of these fight rights on deck, and whenever he needed money to put in a pool or invest in something new, he'd pick one of his files that hadn't expired yet, sue the bar owner into oblivion, sometimes years after the fight, and then move on to whatever the new opportunity was. I know for a fact it led to multiple establishments having to close their doors. Story 20. This trick has helped me pass a good majority of my college courses. Send out a mass email to the class the day before an exam saying I have just finished my study guide and offer to swap it with other people. Never actually made a study guide. People would send me theirs and I would send them each other's back. Win-win for everyone. Story 21. Find a partner who is a heavy sleeper. Each night after they go to sleep, slap a nicotine patch on them. Take it off before they wake up. They will become addicted to nicotine, and should they break up with you, they would go through massive nicotine withdrawals. If everything has gone to plan, they will associate this crappy feeling with their newfound freedom and come back to you. Story 22. The first trick I learned in the FBI: if you're on a stakeout and you want someone to stop looking at you or think you're not looking at them, pick your nose. They immediately turn away and think you are just some silly guy picking his nose. Story 23. For any of you patient green thumbs out there, next time you go to a greenhouse, carry a Ziploc bag with a little bit of water in it in your purse. Whenever you find a plant you like, take a clipping from it and put it in the Ziploc. Take the clipping home, let it root in water and tada. A perfectly pirated plant. I have a whole host of exotic, pirated plants in my place and I didn't pay a dime. Story 24. There's clothing that allows you to do virtually everything. Want to do graffiti? Wear one of those white paperish overalls. Steal a street sign. Carry a toolbox, dress like a mechanic and you're good to go. Dress up like a technician, walk into an office, tell somebody you were told to take that PC, you can just walk out with it. Be where you don't belong. Hold a clipboard and look stressed. Never underestimate how little people question the uniform. Story 25. I know a guy who used to get free meals all the time. I'm not condoning it, but it worked. He would find a chain restaurant, like an Olive Garden or Applebee's or such, and call them during the day to ask what manager was on duty that night. Then he'd call during dinner and ask to speak to the manager by name. Hi, Dave. Yeah, this is Mr. McLovin from Honolulu. I'm not sure if you remember me, but about 8 months ago or so I was in there with my wife, and the meal just wasn't up to par. You said if I was ever in town again to give you a call blah blah blah. And Dave won't give a dang. He's not invested. He doesn't get dividends for breadsticks or anything. He just wants to get through his shift so he can hopefully get a handy from the hostess in a booth in the back after they close. He doesn't remember you and he doesn't care. Even if he did, he doesn't really remember what happened 8 months ago. And that's how he ate a lot of his meals. Had a whole notebook with dates and codes. Very organized. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Thread Talk for more content like this. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out. Have a dope day and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers!